Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. There are many people who live long lives, but their lives are nothing special. And then there are people who had short lifespans, and yet they achieved so much in it. One of those people was Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah. Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah is one of those ulama that is loved by the entire Muslim world. There has not been a Muslim from his time up until now that knows of him, but that he loves and reveres him. Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah's full name was Abu Zakaria Muhyiddin Yahya ibn Sharaf An-Nawawi. He was born in the year 631 after Hijrah in the town of Nawa in Sham. He came from a humble family. His father was not an alim, but he was known for his piety and honesty. Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah's father ran a small shop, and as a young child he would help his father in the shop while also memorizing the Quran. He was not one to ever play games with other children. Not because he was stuck up or because he thought he was better, but rather it was because Allah instilled him with piety from childhood. Because when he was not busy in the shop, then he was busy reciting the Quran. An interesting incident is reported during this period of his life. One of the pious people of the time, Sheikh Yasin, he saw Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah at this age and how he would avoid the children in order to read the Quran, and he would cry when reciting the Quran. So he told the Quran teacher of Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah that it is hoped that this boy will one day become the most knowledgeable person of his time, and he will have the most abstinence from this world, and he will become someone that people will benefit from. This Quran teacher, he asked Shaykh Yasin if he was a fortune teller, to which Shaykh Yasin replied no, but these are words that Allah had placed on his tongue. So he mentioned this to the father of Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah, and he then in turn encouraged his son to continue with his studies and memorization of the Quran. It was then that the studies of Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah started in earnest. His father then took him to Damascus and enrolled him in a madrasa there. There was never a student that could hope to compare with Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah in the way that he spent his time. Literally every second of every day was put to good use. Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah himself mentions that while studying, for 2 entire years he did not lie down once to sleep. It does not mean that he did not sleep at all. Rather, what he means is that he would spend all of his time with his kitabs, and he would continue like that, sitting at his desk through the night until sleep would overtake him and he would pass out while sitting with his kitabs and studying. And when he would be startled awake, he would resume his studies. In this manner, 2 years passed, and not once did he go lie down to rest. Not once did he lay on his side and take a nap or a sleep for 5 minutes. The only time he would sleep would be that time when sleep overtook him and he passed out of tiredness. Other than that, for 2 full years, not once did he go lie down on a bed or some place to take some sort of rest. Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah used to attend 12 lessons a day, every day. These were not lessons that lasted for a couple of minutes, but rather each lecture would last a minimum of an hour, and that would be a short lesson. So more than half the entire day of Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah would be spent just doing new lessons. So he would attend lessons of Hadith and Quran and of Fiqh and Tajweed and everything like this here, with explanations and details and everything like this every single day. This was not including the time that you would spend doing revision or the time that you would spend in ibadah. This was not including if the time that he took for the 5 daily salah or his salah at night or anything else for that matter. This was just the amount of time that he spent studying the deen. Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah would not allow a moment to pass. On the way that he would walk to madrasa and back, that would be his time that he would do his revision. So much so that not one moment of a day was allowed to go by blank without him doing something. This was the habit of Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah that continued even after he had become an alim of note. His day would be spent between studying and teaching. As a result, he did not even have a free moment to be able to get married. Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah would fast every single day. with the exception of those 5 days that are not permissible to fast. He would not eat big meals. He would have one real meal a day. And suhoor was there only because it was sunnah. But he never made it a habit that he would have a big suhoor and a big iftar, but rather one meal a day, and that was it. Imam Nawawi Rahimahullah was extremely particular about what he ate. He never ate a single thing in his life that had the slightest bit of doubt in it. And here we don't mean that the food may not have been slaughtered correctly and things of that sort or how it was earned, but rather this would refer to each and every single morsel of food. He would not eat the fruit of Damascus because he wasn't sure if from the moment of planting it until it arrived by him, if it was entirely halal or was it perhaps taken from the fruit that were endowments meant for the poor. So the only fruit that he would eat would be if his father sent him some, because his father would grow some fruit at home, and it was his father that instilled in him this abstention from all doubtful food. So Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah knew that if his father gave him something, that it was more than 100% halal. Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah lived a simple life. He was entirely unconcerned with matters of this world. He wore simple clothing to fulfill the sunnah and to cover his awrah. And he ate food to keep up his strength to worship Allah. Other than that, he was not interested in the least with what this world had on offer. The only possessions that he had really were his kitabs, nothing else. From a knowledge perspective, Allah had truly blessed him with a great understanding of the deen. He taught the deen for the sake of Allah without accepting any payment for it, not from his students, nor from the Islamic State. Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah is one of the greatest ulama that the world has ever seen, and he is one of the shining stars of the Shafi'i madhab. The books that he had written are of the best that are in existence up till this very day. He is the author of the famous Riyadus Salihin, which is the most printed book in the entire Muslim world after the Quran. That is how many Muslims read it. There were many ulama throughout the ages that wrote collections of 40 ahadith, but the most famous of all time is the 40 selected ahadith of Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah. When the term for the 40 ahadith is used unrestrictedly, just like that, then the majority of people understand it to be the 40 ahadith of Imam An-Nawawi. Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah wrote an explanation of Sahih Muslim, and up till today, no other explanation has been written that can rival it. He is the author of the Shafi'i fiqh book known as Al-Majmu', and there is not a Shafi'i alim on the surface of the earth but that he relies upon that book of Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah. Allah had truly accepted Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah, so his life was filled with greatness from birth until the day that he passed away, just as Sheikh Yasin had mentioned all those years back when he was still a child. Imam An-Nawawi Rahimahullah eventually passed away in the year 676 after Hijrah in the town of Nawa at the young age of only 45 years old. He achieved so much in so few years that a person is left in awe and left with no choice but to admit that this was only possible through the acceptance and the fadl of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. May Allah reward him abundantly for his works and grant him the highest stages of Jannah, and enable us to appreciate and take benefit from the many works of deen that he has left behind. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen, wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.